This is the wrong feed.
What? Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3. Good morning and welcome to the final sparkling conversation in our EarthStock series. I'd like to thank Ubiquity University for their production of Humanity Rising, which gave rise to this series and inspired Stanley Pockris to put an invitation into the chat on day 60s of the series of daily webinars to come over to his Zoom after it was over. That's the after chat, and I'm the moderator of it. That inspired the afterglow of these sparkling conversations. Today, we delve into time and the nature of reality. This discussion is a culmination of our journey and a prelude to the global synchronized drum and ceremonies later today. We gather to inquire deeply into how we can manifest the future we've dreamed of, despite the challenges and differences we face. I'm honored to be here with an extraordinary panel of speakers. Let me briefly introduce our panelists, who will each share their unique perspectives on this profound topic. I'd like to mention also that Lisa Ayers, my friend and EarthStock's administrator, will be monitoring our conversation and watching the chat from the watch party at theconversation.cc. She'll join us towards the end of the session to provide a summary and suggest questions for our Afterglow Q&A section. And Lisa, thank you so much for your support. And I want to encourage you out there in the world, if you would like to be a part of that conversation that will be recorded and become part of the legacy of EarthStock, come to theconversation.cc and join the watch party. Okay, so I'm going to introduce our first panelist. That's Ejna Jean Fleury, who is deeply committed to the reconsecration of our place in the holiness of existence. Ejna's work through the Divine Mother's Love and the Sacred Earth Council is dedicated to living in harmony with humankind, Earth, and the cosmos. Ejna, we look forward to hearing your perspective on how we can collectively recognize and live in our inherent holiness. Hello, Ejna.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's my great honor to be here and to be here amongst people whom I love. And Shannon, thank you for this opportunity and how much I treasure that we're going to be in a conversation. It's not going to be just people talking at the audience or whatever. And I have my computer screen is on gallery because I'm looking at my other panelists, because this topic, time and the nature of reality, it's what we humans presume to live within, and this great mystery of whatever time and reality are is there's no consensus. There varies from culture to culture, but we function, each of us individually, in our own sense and our own beliefs of what time and reality are. And you know, one perspective is the Aboriginal people from Australia. They speak of dream time. So they're very much in touch with not only the astral, but the etheric realms, where our beliefs and our and time do not even exist. And then we have people who are very, very, very concrete and want to live in a very ordered time, ordered time. But I want to share my reality, what I function with, me personally, because then this I know will add to this conversation with the other panelists here. So I see or I function in deep reverence and in the honoring of all life. And I function in a very multidimensional and cosmic reality, and very much beyond time and space. So I want to share a few of what this means. That, yes, as in a job, I have to follow the time as it's written out for the job and my time requirements. But I'm a dreamer, and I have dreams that have shown me I had a dream where I actually saw what happened the next day. I woke up and there was a dream, and then the second part of the dream manifested 3 years later, that in that very same dream. I went to Plum Village and I met a young woman there who had seen 40 years old. And we had both had synchronous dreams in 1988, 89 about a council. I dreamt, and she saw 4 people there in that council. And now 3 of us have manifested in this time from her dream. Now it's being 35 years ago. So time and the nature of and reality, they're mixing very much. And then I've had a vision. I had a dream when I was about 34 years old with my father. And it was a magnificent dream. And then just this last year, I had a vision. And that vision started from where that dream ended. So the vision continued from a dream into this reality, into a vision. So, and then with meditation, I've been introduced to our cosmic bodies, where we're not only this physical body, but our spiritual body and our spiritual dimension. And I've been taken absolutely into hell. Dante's Inferno, he's not the only one. And I know that I and he are not the only ones who have been into the levels of our hell in the psychic and spiritual realms. There are these levels of creation that exist. But I've also, in meditation and in plant medicine journeys, I've been taken far out into the cosmos to see the galaxies floating with me. And I've also been, in some of these journeys, I've been actually the sea. I've been the ocean, the entire ocean surrounding our planet. Yogananda talks about, I am the bubble, make me the sea. And this absolutely happens for us. It happens for us. Perfect. Oh, I'm getting the light, the sparkling of the light is shining more within me, because also the power in going out into the cosmos, going into the sun and through the sun into such power that we have to be prepared. We have to be prepared for the grandeur, the cosmic quantum exponential grandeur of the cosmos and who we are as being, because in our consciousness, we participate as much as we can allow and as much as we are gifted. So my reality is very grand, and I'm going to close with love, because love and this cosmic gloom of creation, I know arises out of love. And we're more than vibration. We are love. We're creativity. So
I,
other
Eshna,
panelists.
oh, that's so beautiful, Eshna. You know, I do so agree with you. I do believe perhaps maybe we are light that vibrates.
Well, we're more than light vibrating. We're more than that.
Well, yes, but the matter
We need our
that
other panelists.
the matter that
we wanna-
holds all of this, and we're going to get back to this, Eshna. This is what this conversation is all about, and I thank you so much. This is so good. I appreciate you so much. And our next panelist is Paula Petrie. Her journey from academia to holistic healing was catalyzed by personal tragedy. Paula has explored consciousness through shamanic studies and has authored several books, including A Mother's Courage to Awaken. Paula, we are eager to hear your insights on how the science of consciousness can help us align with our inner truth in these challenging times.
Just taking a deep breath. Thank you, Angela. That was beautiful. You know, it just so reminds me that our perspective, individual perspectives of time and how it's constructed is determined so much from culture and our personal experiences. And prior to 2007, I saw time and space, saw time, let's say, as linear. No, and in that construct that we're born, we live, we die, and that's a modern construct. Even we go back to the Desert Fathers, no, shortly post Christianity, in all religions, all spiritual traditions. There's four cycles of time. As we're born, we live, we die, and there's a rebirth. And when we moved away from rebirth in our belief systems, our constructs, what was allowed within, I'll speak from Christianity, we went more and more to this linear time. And that's a construct that most people live in. But in indigenous time, it's that I would say indigenous peoples become masters of time. And in this time and space with modern society, we become masters of space. We own land, we own this, we own that. And we become slaves of time. So we can think of all the ways that we are slaves to time. So my perspective changed in 2007 into this view of time is secular. It's like a pretzel. It's the snake eating its tail, with the sitting across from a medium to consult with him about my daughter and see if there was reality in being able to commune with my daughter. And she had passed 11 years to the day of that meeting. And that changed my worldview, that experience, and then many experiences after that, where I have helped other people bridge these two worlds, from this space and time into the non-ordinary space and time, into the real time, into the infinite time, and lifting that veil. So those of my experiences have led me to this deep belief that the linear time and space is a construct that we created. And so when we lift out of that, when we do practices that help us expand beyond this linear time and space, we go into this a beautiful place of oneness, of joy, of blissfulness, of interconnected interconnectivity. And in that, I found personally, in doing that over these 10, 15 years, this personal sense of safety and love, that I am loved, I'm protected all the time, I'm never alone, that we're surrounded by angels and guides and all these invisible forces on the other side that help us, guide us, help us flow with time. In fact, my recent book just came out, Ubiquity University Publishing House, is 24/7 flow, thrive around the clock, as if the knowing that the clock doesn't exist in that limited sense, right? But how do we stay in flow, right? Is by recognizing that we're not this limited 3D self, physical self, but we expand into our expanded self, connecting up into the ethers, into the joy and oneness and unity, and that sense of the God, knowing that the God is within us, and activating, igniting that. So that's a little bit about my perspective.
I love the diversity that is before us today. And thank you so much, Paula, for bringing in your, what I see, Paula, in your vision, what came to my mind was the walls between us, like a labyrinth, but the walls are going down and you're being able to see over them now, and I imagine them sinking into the ground so we can dance together on new common ground. I have a vivid imagination, and I'm so glad to have you here with us, Paula. Thank you so much for coming. And I get to introduce a friend of mine now. Danalia Castell is an interbeing ambassador for peace and founder of the Listening Field. Through this ceremonial space, Danalia facilitates dialogue between humans and nature's elders, focusing on planetary evolution. Danalia, please share with us how this unique dialogue can contribute to creating a world that works for everyone.
Thank you so much, Shannon. Really honored to be here and to be taken to the cosmos with Sister Ejna, and then to be taken through the veil with Paula. Time is it's a favorite of mine, I would have to say. In a previous life, I was a performance artist and did lots of durational events. So things for like chanting for 6 hours without stopping, that sort of thing. So in a way that in those experiences, I'm going through the element of time into the timelessness. And also in my theater training, in physical theater, we used to talk about the stage 4 of awareness, what they call it the level of suspension. So it means it's a space in which we have no idea what's going to happen, but we're on alert and expectation that anything can happen. So in later years, when I began my apprenticeship with the nature elders from the Water, Rock, and Tree Nation, and I began to sit with trees especially, is where I discovered that thoughts seem to be in the linear time frame, but it was necessary in order for me to communicate with the tree elders to drop from my mind into my heart and into my body. And in this realm, in my body and in my feeling realm and intuitive realm, I slowed down. And when I slowed down, and my breathing took me, of course, to that place, my perceptions fell away. My thoughts fell away. And all of a sudden, I was in this field. It's a field of energy awareness without limit, without definition. And I was in that field with another living being. And as we began to feel, sense, and speak to each other across this heart channel of connection, we began to together access ideas, inspirations, that it's felt like neither of us had ever imagined before. So how this conversation can contribute to the thrival of all is that I personally, from experience and with my deepest heartfelt joy, invite more and more and humans to choose to be in this timeless field with the trees that are around us, waiting for us to enter this reality with them, sitting with the rivers and the ponds and Mother Ocean to enter a field with them, and or the mountain elders who are awesomely modeling that timelessness, right? We really want to know what it means to just be. The mountain people, the bedrock people of Mother Earth, upper mantle, they're the ones to jive with. So the reason I feel this is absolutely so important, and why the listening field is an example of, it makes it easy for everyone to access it, because we do it as a group, groups of humans, groups of nature elders. The reason it's so important is because I believe, one, that we need the wisdom and the guidance of our nature community and our nature elders to create a new reality on Earth, one that humans haven't created before. But also, as I shared already, I believe that the collaboration of the human consciousness and evolving consciousness and the evolving nature consciousness, that together, actually, we're going to give birth to a reality, as I said, that no one has imagined before. Not Mother Earth, not the tree elders, the water elders, the mountain elders, beloved world builders, air, water, fire, and ether. Nobody's seen it before. And you can tell I'm really excited, because I am someone who lives in the unknown. I thrive in the unknown. And this is, I believe, where unknown and combined with imagination and living in this timeless space will yield ideas and pathways forward that will serve all other. And I want to acknowledge before I go who is behind me. So this is an olive tree elder from Egina, Greece. I named him the listening tree, and he's here broadcasting what we're saying out to the other tree elders there, but his access is far beyond the literal valley in Egina. And I just wanted to say that as humans, fossilized remains of olive trees have been time marked at 20 to 40 million years that these tree elders have been here, a time frame that is pretty much impossible for us to imagine. And yet, when you enter into consciousness with the listening tree or with the Be Peace tree, you again get that opportunity to access timelessness, where past, present, and future all exist in this moment, and we can access through our attention, like quantum reality, quantum entanglement. We can bring wisdom forward. We can bring wisdom in from the future, and we can also access wisdom that is hidden in us in present.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Danalia. I love the depth of your thought and the openness of your heart. Thank you so much. Our final panelist is Nan Claudia Valdez Varga, a psychic medium and initiated Mayan timekeeper. Claudia is also a council member of the Union of the EQCC, that's the Eagle, Quetzal, Condor, and Colibri. And she has a deep connection to the Mayan cosmovision. Claudia, we are honored to hear your thoughts on how the wisdom of the ancients can guide us in the choices we make in our internal now.
Thank you so much, Shannon, for that introduction. It's good to be here with all of you sisters. Yeah, I follow the Mayan calendar. So to me, that is part of the wisdom of the ancients. These 20 day lords that we follow, like Paula was saying, this isn't linear. This is a cyclical calendar. We are cyclical human beings. And that's how we grow. That's how we develop. It's so much more natural for us. And the energies that we work with, they are our ancient teachers. They are the ones that left those original instructions and teachings. I think that time um, has put everybody in this catching, chasing after their tail and go, 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 go. Everything is a rush, rush. And I think that if we just sit sometimes in that stillness, we will get some of those messages. We are part of that divine spark. We are those ancient ones being reborn. The past, the present, and the future, they all coalesce together. And I believe that, like Danielia was saying, the rocks, the tree elders, they vibrate at a very different level than we do. And if we're actually going to hear their wisdom, we really need to slow ourselves down. They vibrate at a different energy. If we want to hear their messages, if we want to have their guidance and their wisdom, we need to slow down. We talk about the 7 generations and how important they are. And we also talk about how we are the ones that we've been waiting for. All of these different things, to me, represent that cyclical nature and that cyclical being that we've all been here before and we are just remembering. We bring in wisdom from our higher selves. In the Yoruba tradition, they talk about the Ori. In the Maya tradition, we talk about our Nawal. This is our energy that we carry and how we honor it and how we give it thanks, how it guides us, how it leads us. It is that part of us that is connected to the great cosmos, that is connected to the great spirit and all of those energies that have come before us and the ones that will come after us. So I think that, again, if we just stop and listen, there is so much guidance all around us from so many different sources. We just have to be willing and wanting to listen.
Thank
Everything
you.
is so high paced these days, and it just doesn't allow us that time to breathe and to feel into what we are being guided and shown.
We're well trained, aren't we, Claudia, to get on that hamster wheel as soon as we wake up in the morning and off we go and go, 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 go. To be able to come and sit and just be quiet with a rock or a tree or a view or a lake or a river. Thank you so much. Thank you, all my dear panelists, for your profound introductions. Let us now explore together the themes of our conversation. How can we, with our diverse perspectives, align our actions and manifest the future we've envisioned? What can we learn from the ancient wisdom that each of you bring to this discussion, and how can we apply it to our current challenges? Chief Helene Jr. was instrumental in the creation of this summit. Being in Thailand, his participation is limited, but I'm happy to acknowledge him here today. Before I met him for the first time in Rotterdam, I took his course entitled Indigenous Wisdom for Compassionate Living. It was inspiring. I remember the first comment I made on our Facebook page had to do with the moon and how we calculate time. I've struggled all my life to ordinate with the Gregorian calendar, not only do I feel that it was designed to keep us all off balance, I feel women have been deeply disrespected by the creators of it and by the societies that continue to automatically follow it. I'd like to ask you, ladies, what do you think? And I would invite Ajna, you spoke first. Would you like to speak first this time?
Okay, yes. Because of our infinite nature and our access to quantum cosmic intelligence, our access to infinite compassion and love, and our growing capacity to interact with the greatness and the grandeur of our being, we are enjoining more and more now with synchronicity itself and the intelligence of the cosmos to help heal, transform what has been taking place on this planet. And so I feel that even though this imbalance is here now between the masculine and the feminine, it is also a learning interdimensional cosmic process that's taking place with power itself, with intelligence itself, and like Denali has been referencing, as we enter into this relationship, then the healing and the uncovering of the deeper spiritual truths that are embedded, one in use of power, the suppression of men, the suppression of women, the suppression of our divine nature, the suppression of our abilities to communicate with one another, the suppression of knowing that we are one, that the oneness. So, so this suppression of women is, and I'm going to include the abuse of children, because I feel like child abuse is almost endemic on the planet.
Yeah.
Because of war and the wounding. So all the deep wounds that we are carrying are the seeds and the ground of our greatest learning that we're entering now. We're entering the greatest learning. And we're not just 20 million years old as the olive trees. We are billions of years old. So just this invitation and the acknowledgement, I'm very happy to say this because it needs to be spoken. The range of our being is far beyond the cycles of the Mayan calendar even. We are participating with the creation and the lives of galaxies, the multidimensional universe, and our consciousness, because I can even reference this. I'm not the only one saying these words. Because we can reference this, we are enjoining ourselves with this incredible, incredible time of huge healing, the deepest healing we could know, and our utter transformation. It's this evolutionary leap in which we are participating, and with EarthStock coming together to acknowledge this, and for us to be woven together into the solutions that are arising now. So thank you for letting me speak first about this.
Absolutely. It is, these are interesting concepts. We have been so deeply entrained into following the next thing that the clock tells us to do, and so I'm going to go to Paula. How do you feel about the Gregorian calendar? Activate your mic, Clef.
it's beautiful to step outside of time, and it's and just eloquently, represents all that is possible for all of us to experience and to create. And helping people do that is, all of our missions, but I come to it in helping people understand their own divine design. We just, most people don't, right? And as we see the great need to reset, because the world is in fight or flight, right? Yeah. And in turmoil and angst and chaos, and this ultimate of duality coming to its peak of existence, right? And trying to transcend that is helping people understand their divine design, right? That we have the pineal gland, that we activate it, that it takes us, that it helps us connect into this unified field, that field is now measurable. The quantum science tells us that. We're learning from that. Non-locality, which all of us have experienced, we go into everywhere and nowhere when we're in this expanded space and time, is possible when people first reset. And I love what's being said about, needing to slow down, right? Because when we slow down and our heart rate slows down, our brain waves slow down, and we go into that theta state and brain wave where all of that's possible. And this is where children live, till 5-6 years. They really are more in that theta brainwave, which is where we're open to this connectivity. But when we're in high stress in the way we are, there's not that possibility. It's not available to us. So learning how to reset our autonomic system so that we can step beyond that Gregorian calendar, and we go into time is infinite, and then having experienced that just once, we know from all the research on near-death experiences, the research with mediumship, the research now with LSD and all of that, it transforms us. Like we do a 360, many people with one experience, because it's an immediate shift that opens this door that's been is waiting for all of us to open this door. And the door opens, and you walk through, and then you begin to discover what's on the other side, and you see yourself just so differently, and the power that we have, to go to your question, to create, realizing that I've created my own reality up to now, whatever that moment is. So let me create a different reality. It's the most empowering. My PhD work was in family empowerment. My dissertation, I was a late bloomer. I was 55 defending it. And I find that this is what empowerment looks like. This medicine that we are here today as women, I don't think is an accident, right? Is the power medicine. The empowering medicine is experiencing these truths. And then you know it. It's not a belief, it's a knowing.
Thank you so much, Paula. I hear you on the stepping out, and the rising above and all of that. And yet I think about our young people. As a young woman growing up, the calculation of my monthly cycles, and coordinating that with the calendar that I was asked to live within, and every time I had to honor my cycle when it was Monday, and Mondays are hard anyway, and having to count, and it's hard being a young woman in an environment that doesn't honor the thing that is most deeply in my reality for what I have been created to do, is to help my species continue. And it doesn't support me. I'm a little passionate about this, you might notice. And Danalia, tell me what you feel about the Gregorian calendar.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, I discovered the Mayan timing frequency in the early 1990s, and it rocked my world. Because when I found out what my galactic signature was in the Mayan calendar, I finally understood who I am. Then the calendar began teaching me, literally teaching me. It jumped into my body and I knew it without ever having studied it before. And it taught me through curiosity. And it also taught me that the timing frequency, the 1320 timing frequency, really is a resonant language. It's actually a language, is what I discovered it. And it's a language for synchronicity, which connects with what my response was when you asked the question, how do we align our actions in time, right? And what came to me was, it's through surrender. So one, we're surrendering to who we know we are, who we know what we're here to do inside. And of course, that happens through listening. And when we surrender and allow and speak to who we are and act on who we are and act on our visions, the universe steps in and it starts to support it easily. So the word synchronicity is what I want to say is, how do we do it? We actually don't. We just move, we be as we are, fully and completely. That's my job. Who am I? And what am I here to contribute? That's the what. When I define that, which I did this year, and I also let go of a whole bunch of other things. Maybe I'm good at this, maybe I'm good at that, but it's not part of my mission. And I stopped all of those things and said to the universe, I am 1,000% committed to doing, focusing on the interbeing relationships and the peace alliance with the olive trees, etc. And the universe has just come in and connected me with every person that I needed to. So it's a lot less work. I have a lot more time to be social, to relax, to have a life. So synchronicity is the big thing for me. The other thing I want to touch in on is, and of course, the 1320 timing frequency, for those of you who don't know, it's 13 moons. So that's why aligning with the moon cycle and our menses, our sacred menses and our life-giving power, is definitely a missing piece that needs to come back in. But the last thing I actually want to speak to that came to me, that's also on my heart and mind, is time and aging. I, for whatever reason, Paula, have stayed in the theta child realm. I've stayed my entire life. I never left it. Even though I studied law and banking and I was in the corporate world, etc., but I couldn't deny the part of me that really lives timelessly in the imaginal reality. And what's been happening for me is, I'm sweet 66 this year. And I can't stop. I call it that. And it doesn't mean anything except sweet 66. And I'm discovering what that is. And I just started physically training. And I'm remembering, my body is remembering itself at 22. I'm literally youthing. I'm euthanizing. YOUTHINIZI. I'm literally doing that. And I realize it's because my consciousness and my image, etc., it never did relate to all those ideas about it. So those are thoughts in time, but for whatever reason, my being has never much paid attention, right, to the outside human reality. So I just wanted to say that in relationship to time and linear time, for those of us who are just beginning the third of maybe 4 or 5 cycles in human life, that living in the timelessness of ever evolving infinite reality that you, Sister Eshna, have spoken to, opens up so much energy available to serve, to meet each other, to finally meet our tribe and the places we're meant to live, and to actualize our missions. So those are the pieces of the how is surrender and synchronicity. The universe steps in, and then of course non-local reality and communication and living means we also, physical body responds to this way of being, and we also become timeless.
I love that idea of being timeless. Thank you for that. And I do see you as sweet 66. I really have appreciated knowing you and getting to know you in person. And I have also enjoyed getting to know Claudia here at EarthStock. We're here in Crestone together. And last night we had a little bit of a conversation, and I shared with her my vision of what has been, and so I'm going to, Claudia, I'm going to tell them what I feel about how I look at time and what's been going on. You know, I do feel, ladies and gentlemen, that our time, our God-given gift, has been fractured and are into pieces that are commodifiable. And the idea of rising above that, how do we find a way, Claudia? How do we do that? Got any ideas? Am I right? What do you think?
I'd love to pop in. Thank you, Shannon. You know, I do believe time is an illusion. It's an illusion. And we've talked about before that what we think, what we focus on, that's what gives it power. That's what perpetuates. That's what makes it continue. So I really invite people to really shift their way of thinking around all of these things. A lot of people sit there and say that things are happening to us. That happened at me, instead of happening for us. I think if we look at it from that perspective, we will get out of the hurt, get out of the wounded state. If we look at all of these as cycles in our evolution process, and what these bigger cycles are stretching us, are growing our potential to be, I think if we focus on that, that is part of the doorway out. That is where the illumination is. If we stick with the trauma, if we stick with the victimhood, if we stick to the it's happening to me, they're doing this at me, then we stay in that victimhood. We stay in that energy that it's not in our control. And I don't believe that. I believe that, again, we have the power. Our voice is powerful. Our thoughts are powerful. Let's focus on what we want to create, the life that we want to have. I was at a beautiful gathering at Sunray Peace Village, and the wonderful Venerable Gianni, she sat there and she said that our spiritual mission is one of joy. That is our spiritual mission. If we can stay in joy and in happiness, that's the key. Spirit is giving all of these things to us to embrace, to either accept or release. That is up to us. I am an oracle. I am a channel. And every time I talk to the ancestors or I'm doing messaging for clients, One of the biggest things that always comes across is that they want us to be happy. They want us to be happy. I think all of this time, all of these pressures, all of these constructs that they've had us put into is to kind of cut those connections, to break that connectivity. And it's our job to keep that connection, to be open, to be aware, keeping it simple, keeping it safe. We really just overcomplicate things. And we don't have to overcomplicate things. We can live in that spirit of love. We can live in that spirit of joy every moment. That is our choosing. Nobody can tell me or take that away from me. All I have to do is take a deep breath, smile within, and release that smile to the world and to Mother Earth. And that's what I want to fuel my life with. That's what I hope to fuel everything I come in contact with. There's a lot of growing pains that we go through. And again, we can label them all sorts of ways. Does it have to be growing pains? Sometimes, that stretching and gaining those muscles feels good. So it's all about the way we vision something, what meaning, what significance do we give it? And if we can, again, stand in joy, stand in love, that's what everything will be painted with.
Thank you so much, Nan Claudia. I am so impressed with all of the profound words that have been spoken here today. And we're moving towards our last 20 minutes or so. And what I'd like to do is bring Lisa Ayers in from the conversation gallery, our watchers, and see what she has gleaned from our conversation. And then we can converse with her for a few minutes. If there's, while that's going on, I want to ask you, each of you, and just open your mic when you have something to say. What has been not said here that needs to be heard?
Do you want us to do this before you bring in Lisa?
Lisa's coming in.
Oh, okay.
Yes, continue, Ejna.
There's a global
And speak
movement.
up.
There are global movements and there are prophecies that are in process. And one of the most recent prophecies that I've heard comes from the Olofuru people of Maluku. That's Indonesia and the Spice Islands. And that's their name for themselves. They are the Olofuru people of Maluku. And they have a prophecy that 4 women will gather the women and the women will bring peace. And that's not the only prophecy of that nature, but that's the most recent. And I'm participating with the Founding Mothers Movement and Divine Mother's Love. Both of these are women gathering women, and the main goal, end war. And to do that, you go to the roots of war. But bringing these to the infinite love and the infinite capacity for compassion and the synchronicity of working with the cosmos. So we're on the right path. Thank you.
Thank you, Ejna. Oh, I love that prophecy. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Lisa, how's it going, girl? Oh, right. Yeah, I'll mute. We're in the same room, so we're doing the microphone dance.
Hi, everyone. The conversation in the watch party has been not super active, although there are a lot of people listening, which is fascinating. But there are a few questions that have come up, and I think that the main thing, and again, it's something that we have heard over and over and over this week, is that we need to step out of our minds. We need to step out of our constructs. We need to step out of this fake matrix that we've been hearing over and over and over again. And maybe one of the questions that came from that is we need to learn more about the pineal gland and resetting our autonomic nervous system, because I think that's something that a lot of people hear about, but it's sort of out there or maybe in there, and we don't know how to connect to it. So that's one question. And another question is about dream time in our cosmic bodies, and especially remembering these prophecies and watching them grow over the span of decades, and ensuring that that prophecy, in fact, is remembered and recognized happening in real time. So those are things that we're going to talk about in the afterglow, and that's going to happen in the main room as we step out of this breakout room during our broadcast. So I'll pass it back over to you, Shannon, and I look forward to chatting with all of you ladies in the main room in a few moments.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Yeah, this it's good to have a drop in from the outer world into our inner world. We're talking about, you know, the calendar and time and the nature of reality. And thank you, Ajna, for your comments. I would like Danalia or Paula or Claudia to come in. Yes, Danalia. Thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you for both of those questions. And I'm actually not a sleeping dreamer. I'm a waking dreamer. I receive visions and then I make them manifest in the world. So I'm not the person to answer the dreaming question. That's all. And then the other question was about the cosmic body.
That's okay, Danalia.
Oh,
We're
okay.
not supposed to be answering those questions
Oh,
now.
I see.
That's bait to to tease people into the conversation.cc so we can consider these questions together.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and so I do want to bring us back to the question of the nature of time. Are we here playing a role in a play like Shakespeare said, just strutting our hour on the stage, or is it as important as it feels, or and how do we navigate this in a respectful, good way? And Paula, you have had trauma in your life, as have we all, but you found a way of moving past trauma. And what was your tool to step out of the time that had solidified around you? How did you break free of that?
Oh, you know, when I was 23, brings me here. When I was 23 in a college campus, 1972, 73, someone doing a survey and they asked questions and what do you want in life? It was one of those things. I remember being with my aunt and my cousin, And I said, I want to know myself. And I've recently, I'm going back to Delphi in a few weeks, Delphi, and I was there in Greece last year. And there is like, know thyself and find the middle way, find the balance, the harmony, the symphony, the symmetry within, right? So I think, there's those of us who really have this desire to know thyself. And my daughter, born with a disability, and then her death at age 12, forced me. It opened the door. And loving what Claudia brought us to earlier, is this view of, now that I have, through the shamanic practices and being in this wisdom with so many different circles of women and empowering thoughts, viewing those tragedies or those times where Peter Mary so well says in his book Volution, that we are grapple hooked by the past in order to transcend the present, to transcend the past in the present. So we're walking along comes our past, we get triggered, another way to say it. He goes, grapple hooked, right? We've all had it. And we've paused, we're in the now, as Claudia's saying, and that we see it as an opportunity because we see ourselves as these infinite spiritual beings that are here to evolve and to grow, right? So when we have this perspective of ourselves in that frame, we can then embrace that concept that, this is a moment that is an opportunity. And now I see daughter's life and her death is just all these opportunities to know myself, which, I stated. I said, we have to, going back to what was said earlier, we have to be careful what we say, right? Because then we bring it forth, right? And mine early was to know ourselves. And I think in this healing way that we're also committed to being a force of healing on the planet, I feel that knowing thyself and recognizing shadow and healing those old pains create a medicine that I feel in this space that's very pure, very powerful.
Thank you so much, Paula. Yeah. We do need healing, and we need each other. And these deep conversations that we get into help us acknowledge and give honor to our past and bring our future into clarity. What do we want? How do we move into what it is that is asking for us? Delia, I see your hand up. Come on in.
Beautiful cue. I'm just trying to get my hand down. There we go. Whew. Thank you, Paula. Free will. Free will. Free will. Is my understanding that human beings, right from the very beginning, were given free will out of all of the creations on our planet. And what has helped me all these years is a cosmic astrologer shared this concept with me in the early 2000s, and it really revolutionized how I thought. So this is kind of in reference to your, are we players on a stage, right? What is our role? Are we players on a stage? So right off the bat, we're co-creators. In my understanding, we are designed to be co-creators with life, of life. And so what this cosmic astrologer said to me, because I was lamenting something, I was whining about something, I don't remember what it was. And she said, so grok this is a beautiful thing. Every 4th quadrillionth of a second, the universe reinvents itself. Every fourth quadrillionth of a second, the universe reinvents itself. So every single microsecond that a human being, almost 8 billion people on the planet, if 8 billion on the people have a different thought, a different idea, a different vision, make a new choice, our reality shifts exponentially and micro quantumly. So are we players on a stage? Yes. Can we choose at any moment whether I exit, whether I enter, whether I do a flip, whether I turn the lights out, whether I just leave and go to another stage? Absolutely. And I know for myself that the biggest transformation for me is I came in with this dual awareness, both hating humanity and loving Mother Earth in equal measure. And the hatred was fed by a victimization. I felt like I'd been left on this planet by some horrible higher beings that I railed against for many years until I woke up to the fact that I chose. Then it was all over. The victim thing was all over. And then I became an author of my life. So I personally say, let's have nothing in space, because of course I love the unknown, and let our imagined, our connection with each other and our love for life to fuel what it is we choose to see and feel and hear. Because science, as Paula has said, and others, right? We know that whatever we put our attention on manifests. It pulls it out of the quantum potential and into the manifest reality. So that's the piece that I wanted to.
Well, thank you so much. And it reminds me that, I've been reminded a couple of times, don't pray for patience, because you will be tried and you will learn how to be patient. No, not that. So no, I pray for flow. I pray for respect. And maybe that's the wrong thing, because perhaps you learn respect by experiencing disrespect. I don't know. But I'm doing the best I can, and I'm playing with my friends, and I sparkle them up as best I can, and it is the joy of my life to play with people who respect time of their own and others' time. This is the experience. We are having the time of our lives, ladies and gentlemen. We are having the time of our lives. What is the life that you want? You have the will, you have the time to make a choice, to dream your dreams and create the world that thrives for all. This has been one of the most profound conversations of these 7 conversations. And it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on my screens, to be in my heart. I'm sorry to say that we're just about done. I would be in conversation with you forever if I could. But so as we close, I want to thank all our wonderful panelists and everyone who's joined us today. I also want to thank all the other panelists and the people who have made this series possible. I'm going to begin with Michael DiMartino, the producer of EarthStock, Michael Krause and Mark Karen, who provided the streaming and support for all the live broadcasts. I also extend gratitude to Mary Thorpe and Lisa Ayers, who supported our sparkling conversations. And Lisa was on Monday's panel, so she gets doubly thanked. I'd also like to thank Jamin Shively and Marco Elsterman for the space and time at the conversation.cc, for the afterglows and all the many recordings that they have been participating and made space for the EarthStock Eco-Spiritual Summit. This has been an inspiring and learning experience. And I hope our conversations continue to spark deeper reflections within all of us. The legacy we leave is equally as important as the ground we are breaking. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in the afterglow at theconversation.cc, where we can continue this dialogue and explore these themes in more depth. Thank you all, and see you in the afterglow. Bye for now.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.